What's going on, guys? It's your boy Manny here with Yellow Tape DFS, here to give you my week 2 of the NFL slate. I'm going to start by going over the positions at quarterback. Plays are going to be good for cash and or GPP, depending. Make your best selections based off of that information. All right, Lamar Jackson priced up for good reason. He's a 2-for-1. He's a running back as well as a quarterback, basically. This guy gets a lot of yardage on the ground and in the air. I expect him to have a great game, so if you want to pay up for him, I am not mad. All right, Kyler Murray, I think, is at a great price point. I don't see why I won't have a ton of exposure to him in a great matchup against Washington. Then there's Matt Ryan. I expect there to be the shootout with him in Atlanta versus the Cowboys. I'm going to have some exposure to that gentleman. Then there's Josh Allen. I expect him to be running around and trying to touch the end zone with Diggs. And then, if you really want to pay down, I'm going to say Mitch Trubisky. And the reason for this is Allen Robinson is probably one of my favorite plays on the slate. All right, we'll get to that in a little bit. Now to running backs. Everybody's talking about Ezekiel Elliott, rightfully so. If you're going to pay up for a back, it's probably him. All right, Derrick Henry, huge spot. He had so many touches in the last game. I don't expect him to get any less with the news of injury for the receiver. All right, A.J. Brown. Then somebody that's kind of not really being talked about as much because he's being overwhelmed by the Devonta Adams being in such a great spot. So I'm going to say Aaron Jones. I really like where he's at today. I feel like they're going to be in the lead quite often, and he's just going to get a ton of touches and going to have a lot of performance. I expect him to have a good stat sheet. Mostert, I like him against the Jets. I feel like even with all the injuries throughout the course of that game there, I feel like they're still going to be up and just running the ball a lot. Todd Gurley, I think he's in a great spot. I think he's in the way to get more work done. I think they found a rhythm for him, even with that knee issue. Right? I think he's going to do fine. Then the other guys that are being talked about highly, like Drake and Taylor, yes, they're in play. Don't get me wrong. They're very, very chalky. I will have to have my share of exposure, but I'm not going to be as high as everyone else is on them. Now, someone that's kind of off the radar that nobody's really talking about, Mark Ingram. All right? If you want to play a running back that nobody's going for, a GPP type style, I like Mark Ingram. I think the game script matches him nicely, and I just don't see a problem going there. Also, Ron Jones from Tampa. I know he's got nice backups with Fournette and McCoy, but he has been clearly decided to stay number one, so I don't see him having a bad game against the Panthers. All right, going over to receivers, like I said, number one on everybody's list, Devonta Adams, rightfully so. This guy's a monster. Huge target share week 1. I can't complain, Then DeAndre Hopkins, perfect to pair with Kyler Murray if you wanted to. This guy's also a beast with a huge target share. Julio Jones. I don't need to say much more. All right, my favorite receiver of the slate, Allen Robinson. The Giants struggle against people 6 feet and over when they're secondary as far as going out for the deep ball. Allen Robinson, 6'3". He's got great hands. I expect him to do well. Mike Evans, if he's fully healthy, I expect him to be performing at great measure for a very cheap price point. I think he's underpriced for the type of production that he could fulfill. Another guy that I like a lot is T.Y. Hilton. Now, everybody's going Taylor, so T.Y. Hilton is my pivot, right? It's just game script. Then going over to Michael Gallup. I think he's in a great spot. Same thing with Robert Woods. All right, another off-the-radar pick. I'm looking at Jerry Jeudy for Denver. All right, this guy gets a decent target share, and everybody's avoiding Denver players like the plague. I think this is a great spot to be able to touch on something in a GPP where people were not going to be expecting to have a pivot. All right, Sammy Watkins at 4,800. You can't overlook him. You can have exposure to him. Paris Campbell, same thing. It's just like T.Y. Hilton. Those guys are going to get some play. And then with the news of Godwin not playing, obviously Scotty Miller will be in play. All right, going over to tight ends, I like Mark Andrews, rightfully so. Obviously, everybody on this Baltimore team pretty much is in play. I know I didn't really mention Marquise Brown, but everyone's in play on that team. Hunter Henry is not getting much talk. So I don't mind putting him in GPPs. The same thing with Tyler Higbee, who had an astonishing performance the last 5 weeks of the NFL last year, fantasy-wise. And then I like the chalk. I'm biting on this one. Logan Thomas. I think this guy is in a great spot. He had a great target share. I simply don't mind paying down for tight end this week. All right, defense, I'm going to list in order from top to bottom. I like the 49ers, the Ravens, the Rams, and the Jets as a punt. It's really up in the air when it comes to the defense. It's kind of clear-cut of which teams are going to actually have a performance on the defensive end. But these are my picks. Hopefully it gets you a good placement on the week. And we'll let you know how we do on the next video. Have something special for the next one. All right, guys, until then, have a good one.